Hey y'all, Jim Pankey here with my buddy John Boulware. John, we've known
Howdy,
each
y'all.
other for,
Long time now.
yeah, we won't even say how long because it's almost embarrassing at this point. John's known me longer than I've known him.
Yep, that's fair.
One of the things that comes up a lot, and we're just going to dive right into this thing. One of the things that comes up a lot, especially with my students in the past, and I know John teaches a lot of folks, and one of the big asks is, do I need a metronome? You know what? And do I need a metronome, John?
Yes,
Dang
absolutely. Need is a strong word, but yes, I would say that most musicians who are looking to improve their craft would benefit greatly from a metronome, and it's you're just missing out by not using one.
I came to John because I knew that he would have a lot more tips and a lot more advice on the metronome, because in my mind, I've got a handful of myths and thoughts about the metronome. And because in the bluegrass world, we really don't hear about this thing that much.
People don't talk about it a whole lot.
And things I have heard are just objectively wrong.
Correct. Yeah, they're objectively wrong a lot of times,
And
or misunderstood.
Yeah. And so what John and I would like to do for you today is we'll talk about some myths about the metronome and give you some tips and maybe encourage you to have a metronome. And
Absolutely.
there might be some bonus information here that you didn't know you were going to get in the process, because John likes to talk about music stuff and I like to talk about music stuff. So John, one of the things I hear about the metronome is that playing with this thing will make me sound mechanical.
That is something. I've heard that one a lot too. Because the metronome itself is a mechanical or digital device here, people think that they're going to sound robotic and not organic or human by playing with a metronome. But the metronome doesn't really affect how you play. It just gives you a neutral external timing source to play with. Then you can still choose to play with plenty of swing, or you can choose to play it straight. You can choose to play with dynamics on top of that. You can choose to play a little ahead of the beat or a little behind the beat. You can use the metronome however you want. So if you're playing mechanical with the metronome, it's probably because you're just listening to it and trying to match its mechanicalness instead of being more human and organic, which does take some practice.
Let me set this, play something with some feeling over that. Yeah, so one would never accuse you of sounding mechanical.
Right.
I would hope.
In fact, that's probably a little bit more swing than I would normally put in it. But yeah, you can do as much with it as you want.
Right. So it is just it's a tool. Another thing I've heard from my students is a metronome, you need to set it to click on every beat. So if I'm playing in 4/4 time, I need it to click 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm playing in 6/8, I would need to set it differently.
It depends on what you're playing and how you want to use it. Again, the metronome is a tool. Make it work for you. If it's not doing what you need it to do, then change how it works just by changing the speed of it. You can use it to play on every single click. You can have the click land on every single beat, or you can have it land on every other beat. Or you could go the other way and you could have 2 clicks per beat. So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
So I could drive this thing up to those fast numbers. So 1 and 2 and 3. All right. So you hear that. Now, if I put that same tempo. But wait, there's more.
Same tempo.
Same tempo. So you can, like John said, this is a tool. You're going to use it the way you want to use it.
Exactly. And but depending on what you're working on, the metronome can be used for a variety of things. But especially if you're just starting out getting used to using a metronome, you can change how the metronome feels a lot of times by either doubling the speed or cutting the speed in half. If you are playing something and you're trying to keep up with it, and it seems like it's just going way too slow and you can't really predict where the next beat is going to be, we'll just look at the number and double it. And then you can just keep playing at the same speed, and all that happens is you get more clicks. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And sometimes people who are playing at a medium speed, if they get faster, that's just way too many clicks and it's distracting and it's not easy to play with. Okay, cut that number in half.
It's the same tempo.
And it's the same tempo. So we're playing the same, and you can just choose, if you want to hear more clicks, double the number. If you're hearing too many clicks, cut the number in half. Make the tool work for you.
One of the things I know a lot of students have come to me in the past is they want to play faster. So they think, well, I need to get a metronome so I can build speed. And that's the reason we use a metronome, is to build speed.
That is one of the reasons, but it is not the only reason.
Right.
So again, the metronome can do a lot of things for you, and you can choose to use the tool to work on whatever it is that you're working on at the moment. But honestly, the best part about using a metronome, particularly in the beginning, is not even about speed. Speed is easy to work on later, but the more important thing right now is just getting yourself aligned to what I call an external timing source. When Jim and I are sitting here playing together, I have to play at the same speed that he does, or it's not going to work.
And I have to play at the same speed.
Exactly.
That he does. So that it's like when you're playing with another person, I mean, you have to play together.
Right.
If John was a robot, and I'm not saying he is, but if John was a robot, then I would have no choice but to play with John.
Exactly.
But John's not. We don't think John's a robot, but
Can neither confirm nor deny.
but like, if I move the tempo, he's aware of that and will adjust. But the only way you get used to doing that alone is, well, I mean, there's other ways, but a great way to get used to doing that alone is to use a metronome of some sort. I mean,
and a lot of people don't think they have timing issues, or when they play with other people, they're roughly in time, so they don't see any kind of need to work with a metronome to, quote, fix their timing. But it's not necessarily about fixing a problem that's wrong. It's more about developing the habit of thinking about the timing, and more importantly, the habit of listening to the other person. Because you could be playing in a band and maybe you're the only one that's staying in time and everybody else is dragging a little bit. But if you just stay in time and they're dragging, well, now you're the only one that's out of time with
right.
them.
Yeah.
So you can't just rely on your own sense of timing. Music is all about listening and aligning ourselves to what everybody else is doing. And a good way to develop that habit is to have some external timing source, like a metronome, that we have to match.
Some tips to help you get started with a metronome. A lot of my students would get a metronome and initially set their tempos too fast or too slow. Because it's like, well, what should I do? Well, you need to pick a tempo that you can play at comfortably. And
Absolutely.
How do you know what's comfortable? Play without the metronome.
Right. So
and figure out what that beat is.
a lot of times people, as students starting out, they go to a jam session, people playing stuff way faster than they can, and they think, okay, so they look up a recording and they try to find what speed they're supposed to be playing at. Oh, it's 110. Okay, so they put the metronome at 110 and they just can't hang on. And then they say, oh, well, I guess I'm just not good enough yet.
Right.
And that's not really the way that we need to use the tool. It's a little bit like, having the wrong size screw and saying, oh, I can't screw this board to this thing because I have to. Well, just use a different screw, So we can change the metronome to match how we're actually playing. If you can't play at 110 yet, then don't. Slow the metronome down to the speed that you're already doing it at. Start out by just even playing a little bit of the song without the metronome.
So play a little bit. And so John is tapping his foot. So that click, 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 click.
And then you set the metronome to your speed.
That's a little fast.
That's pretty close though. Just somewhere in that range.
So that. Yeah.
So it's your tool. Make it work for you. You don't have to go at its speed. If it seems too fast, slow it down a little bit. If it seems too slow and pokey and it's kind of hard to hear where the beats are, then speed it up a little bit. Make it work for you.
And with that said, when you do decide to build tempo, and so if that's your tempo, and you get to where you play that comfortably and you want to go a little faster, one click.
One click.
And I like metronomes like this, or even grab that old time metronomes like this that have, you know, that. And they have metronome marks, and just one click. I mean, you can get a metronome for your phone, and you can go one beat at a time. I mean, some of them probably even do fractional beats, and you don't need to do.
You don't need to.
So just one click, and that'll be a noticeable tempo change. You will feel it. And
whatever one click is on your metronome, one adjustment, you can really get bogged down by becoming number bound and thinking too much about the specific number of beats. But really, it's just the idea of getting comfortable at a speed, reach over, click it up, one click, whatever that is on your metronome. Just reach over, and with one simple motion, now you're doing it again. Reach over, one simple motion, now you're doing it again. So the idea is about just kind of working it and using the tool instead of thinking too much about the tool and hyper-focusing on the details of it. Just whatever one click is, just go up by one click. Most of the time when I'm using a metronome, I don't even look at the number. I just turn it on and I set it to a speed that feels pretty good. And I just leave it there, and I don't even care about what the number says.
Another tip, and this is just a choice that you can make. So much like what I've taught y'all with banjo and playing, it's like it's a choice. You can choose to do certain things. You don't have to do it exactly like I do it. You don't have to do it like the recording. You make a choice, and we can make a choice on the metronome of what these clicks represent. And if we want them to represent whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes.
Sometimes when you're talking to people, you'll have kind of disagreeing perspectives on what the click is or what a beat is when you're working with a metronome. And somebody might say, oh, well, I've been playing this song at 220 beats a minute. It's just like, that seems a little bit fast. It's what they're calling 220 is probably just a doubled version of 110 would be the actual tempo. Right. And some people might say 55 instead of 110. So it's just different time perspectives here. But when you get to talking to people about it, sometimes they'll refer to, oh, well, the quarter note is a click or the eighth note is a click. Well, what does that mean? And if you turn on a metronome just at some kind of medium speed here, I can either think about that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or I can think about that as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Which one is correct? It depends on how you're using it. Neither one is. They're both correct. Either way you look at it is totally fine. It doesn't matter if you call it 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you call it 1 and 2 and, or if you call it Bob, Fred, George, Jim. What the click is called isn't as important as how we're working with the beat. So a lot of times people who have differing terminologies for these things are actually talking about the same thing and they just don't realize it. So feel free to double or halve the number of clicks that you're hearing.
And there's a lot that you can do with a metronome, and we've just barely scratched the surface.
Absolutely.
But we wanted to just give you some encouragement. At the very least, if you've not bought a metronome, go get one.
And get a simple one.
Simple knob click. Most of them will have a little light. If the old mechanical ones, you can watch the swing. It's kind of like watching a conductor. I guess a bonus thoughts here. I mean, there are other ways that a person could practice their time. You can play along with the recordings. I mean, I know John did. I know I did when I was learning. You know, playing with the recordings was a big deal. And the caveat with that is sometimes the recordings vary in tempo.
They do, and sometimes they're just too darn fast to try to keep up with at first.
There's that. There's a variety of different apps and such on, you know, available, but Strum Machine is great. It gives you a more of a band feel of playing along, and that helps you.
There are a lot of free phone apps out there. They all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
They all click like a metronome.
So hopefully that dispels some myths about the metronome, gives you some tips, and give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Try it. I guarantee you it'll help your playing. See y'all next time.
See y'all.